Homework.
So bad.
Homework.
Oh, sorry. no,
Okay,
I don't
so
want to.
I want to take college classes next year, so we're gonna take the ACT.
Homework.
We're going to college
Did you guys already turn in
I wanted
the other
to,
stuff?
but
Oh,
we
oh,
might.
that won't get workload. No, man.
I don't take pencils, but okay, surprise, surprise,
Goodness,
just
it's not
okay.
another thing.
I know, I
You know, it's like-
Strictly, I'm going to grade these.
I'm taking my ACT this
We
summer.
were going to,
Huh?
have you taken it?
I got it.
I base it on,
I wanted
I
to
do
get it all
your
right.
math.
I went
So
down
if you make a mistake, it doesn't propagate through it.
I use.
Wait,
I went down.
This one?
Oh,
This one, all of the math is wrong, because my mom was wrong. So every single.
Well, that just-
problem down on this paper is
Like,
wrong.
it's you still.
It's like $1,000 off.
So
Yeah, my brother
Andrew took it like
She's like,
6
oh, I
hours or
got
something.
this.
Oh, yeah.
My mom went through it
Like,
after,
he
and
didn't
she's like,
fail it, he just probably did a better
yeah.
job. I think
well,
every time.
one
he
form
went
didn't print all the information that was on the form,
Oh, really?
because I was fighting my
It
printer.
was like a 20.
So then mom got on it on her phone, and it's like, oh, here's all these numbers.
Yeah.
Because he texted me.
Christopher didn't do good at all. Then my other brother Matthew got like a 27 or something like that. And, oh my gosh, Benjamin got a perfect score. I was so jealous. I was like, are you kidding me, guys?
Okay,
wait, who's Benjamin?
so if you did the tax,
Smart kid for me.
if you did the tax thing, how many of you are like, oh, great? It gets even worse the more money you start to make.
Trying to ring my mom up every time I do my taxes when I'm.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call my dad and be like, here's my tax.
Is
You
your mom
still
an
call my
accountant?
grandma.
Oh,
Like, until I get married, I'm gonna have my mom do them, and then my husband's gonna do them.
My dad, my dad did
Don't
mine
do
this
it.
year. I was like, hey, dad. He made my brother shoot them because they're really good. Hey.
Reason number 491 why I wish I had an older brother.
I don't make
So-
my brothers do them.
let's see, I did mine, well, Mrs. Sharkey helps. Of course, she's the one who keeps all the data together and puts it all, and then I work it through the program, and then, then we do the analysis, what saves us more money. And then Stephen did his taxes, pretty much did them himself. So, he made some good money last year doing his internship, but then, of course, still has to pay for school, so that's a big expense. But, so it's always fun to do taxes. That's why I make it as part of the project, so you guys have to do it.
It's not so, it's just adding and subtracting.
Right,
But like.
wait till you start getting into doing
It's
investing.
like way more complicated than it needs to be.
I tried, the last 2 times I taught economics, one of the projects I wanted to do is at the beginning of the semester is what you would do is you would have a certain amount of money, fake money, that you could invest. And there's programs out there that teach you this. The problem is they're expensive. So it would be, you'd get this amount of money, you could invest in stocks, savings, all these different things. And then what you would do is at the end of the year, the last 2 weeks of school is you'd print out what your results are, how'd you make money, where'd you make your money, where did you do your investing and stuff like that. The problem is like I said, it's not, there's nobody that offers a free one out there that you can do that with. What I need to do is find some investment company that would be willing to sponsor something like that next time I do the class, so that, you'll learn how to do the actual investing. So I figured, taxes, your parents are going through the pain, may as well spread it to you guys a little bit too, just to have fun with it. Yeah.
Because it's fun to make your students.
Exactly.
It is.
I endeavor to bring as much pain upon you as I possibly can. Although, that's not true, because they don't make you do all the workbook stuff in history. I can make you color all the maps and do all that stuff.
I'd rather do that.
Do busy work.
There's so much.
I like
I don't
color.
believe
You
in
just get
busy.
bored and you color them out, and it's fun. There you go.
Well, you could turn those in for extra credit.
I didn't keep up.
Yes.
Why did you tell me that? I totally would have.
We just finish up the whole activity book and just throw it.
Yes.
Sunday night at 11:30.
Yes, I would give you extra. Some of you could use it, others of you wouldn't have time to do it anyway. So, let's see, okay, so we're looking at chapter 29, business cycles, the ups and downs of the economy. The business cycle, the up and down, is a natural process. The reason being is, as you're going up, the economy's growing, boom, 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 you start buying things that you don't need. You start investing in areas that might be a little bit more risky because you have extra money. You start doing things that you normally wouldn't do. And countries do the same thing. And businesses are even just as bad as countries and people. So what happens is that these excesses causes downturns in the economy. And what a downturn does is basically brings everybody back to reality and puts the emphasis back on the things that where you should be and not emphasizing the things that maybe you necessarily shouldn't. And it makes companies more productive, they get back to their basics, they cut excessive, excessive management. But in some cases, it's not always excessive management either that you cut.
Oh, Kayla Ricker's not here. I just now figured that out.
Yeah.
Too much
she
noise.
was perfect. Pick her picture up.
So-
pick her sister up from the airport.
So
Fishing rod.
one of the things that you always want to look at is that business cycle. If you learn when the business cycle is, you can actually make a lot of money. Because if you know when the economy is going to go down, then you do this thing called selling short. Selling short, or I think they're called pushes, is another term for them. And you can actually make money off of this. Don't ask me, I don't have enough money to do that kind of investing, so I can't do that. But that is the belief. Business cycle, periodic changes in the level of a nation's business activity. And what we typically do is, when we look at a business, we look at businesses, but when we really talk about the economy, we talk about it from a national perspective, but also from a world perspective. So it's not just the national side. But mainly that's the biggest focus. And one of the big things, of course, we talk about is the gross domestic product. Phases of the business cycle, recession. We changed that name back in the 1970s because a depression was too bad of a word after the Great Depression. And they figured that might cause people to panic if we called it a depression. So we call it now a recession, and probably that'll change because that sounds too bad, and we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings and make them feel bad, so we'll call it something nice and easy so that people don't feel bad.
It's amazing the power that a name can have, even though it means the same thing.
Well, think about it. Secretary is considered a derogatory term now. We can't call them
Seriously?
secretaries. Yes.
Why?
Would I
It
feel like
just
sexist?
is. If you go to any business today, they don't call them secretaries.
Anyone else think this is weird?
You call
Assistants.
assistants, administrative assistants is typically, because you're a secretary.
Well, let's
Because that secretary is,
Like,
bad.
my work done.
What, like it sounds sexist or something?
Correct. That, it can be sexist, it's just derogatory. Well, it's just like we don't call people janitors anymore.
what?
Yeah,
They're
That's what
custodians.
they are.
They're called custodians. And now, actually, there's a pushback on the word, they don't like custodian anymore.
What?
And it's like, well, what are you?
I don't understand.
I am a facilities maintenance engineer.
That's too
That's
long
what I
of a
got
word.
Principal of the
It's-
trash can.
Yes.
I've heard both professional mom and just professional cleaner.
Yes, yeah, I'm a professional
It's
cleaner.
literally the same thing.
I don't understand why people. Who cares? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Wait, I wanna hear it.
Well, the other thing
I
is,
wanna hear your thoughts.
the other one is, of course, we can't say, it used to be, and it's kind of changing with the millennial generation, is stay-at-home mom.
That's a bad
That's a
word.
bad thing.
That's a good thing.
I know, but it's a bad
What the heck
thing,
is wrong with
especially the
that?
feminist movement. a woman who stays at home, that's just, she's putting herself at the
Okay,
mercy
who's
of her.
gonna raise the kids?
Husband.
Dogs? What the
No,
heck?
that's what daycare's for. That's what the school system's for, and that's why the people come out the way they come out, coming out of public schools, because the school system is the one raising children, not the adults.
I'm so annoyed with my country right now.
Yes, it is,
This
it
is
is
so
annoying, isn't it? Then you have the trough or the bottom, then expansion, recovery, and then the peak. Of course, if you listen to Obama, we've been in recovery for the last 8 years, which really, actually, I would say we've pretty much stayed at the bottom. There's been no real recovery over the last 8 years. It's been a false recovery.
We know.
Yeah, they base their recovery on, this is the thing that the government will do, is they will look at numbers differently than how we actually, how we really should be looking at them. One is, they'll look when it's important, when the government wants to look good and the stock market's doing well, oh, well, look at the stock market. It's the highest it's ever been. There's an indicator that the country is doing great. Not necessarily. If you look at the last 8 years, you go, well, where else has people had the opportunity to invest their money? You're getting what, 1% in your savings account? So where, you really only have a choice of investing in the stock market, which is why it's been so high. The other thing, one other thing that, you gotta look at is, of course, the labor market. So some of the things that we look at is GDP. That's one of the biggest indicators of whether your country is growing, is looking at the GDP, the gross domestic product. That's a measure of how much output, how much wealth are you generating every year. Also, look at personal income. Is the average income for those people that are working increasing or decreasing? You also have the stock market averages and the unemployment rate. Now, what you need to do is you need to take all 4 of those, and that gives you a better measurement of where the economy is going. The other one that they don't mention, I don't think they mention in the book, is the consumer confidence. That's a newer one that they measure, is getting an idea of, is the consumer wanting to buy, or is the consumer like, we're bargain hunting? If the consumer's bargain hunting, that means that they're not buying necessarily wants, they're only buying needs. And they'll buy a want if it's on sale, which means that you're not really getting some growth. So that's some of the things that they will look at. The problem that we have is our government leaders, they will pick 1 or 2 of these and tout these to say that, look, we're having a great year. When they may not necessarily be doing that. Or they fudge the numbers, like the unemployment rate. One of the things that they love to do with the unemployment rate is go, well, the unemployment rate right now is, I think, below what, 7? I think it's below 7%. And the problem that you run into is unemployment, the way the government measures it now, is they basically don't look at people who aren't looking for work. So if you were on unemployment for 2 years, well, that's how long unemployment was lasting under Obama, was 2 years. I hope they're cutting that back to less than that. You shouldn't be allowed to be on I know people who've been unemployed, and they go and they get offered a job, and they go, well, I still get unemployment benefits for another 3 months, so I'll start my job in 3 months. It's like, what? Go work. Stop being a dredge on society. Get back out of the wagon and push, rather than being somebody sitting in the wagon and everybody else carrying you.
Unfortunately, they're still able to take advantage of that time because they're able to.
Correct.
We allow them to.
Right, the government the way the system is set up, it allows them to. So really, if we look at the true unemployment rate, it's actually higher than what you're seeing now. The level of our workforce is actually at one of the lowest times since World War II. So if you think about the fact that we have more people in the country, but the number of people in the workforce, is small, is almost as small as what it was during World War II, which is scary. Some of the things that, of course, we want to look at is labor. I was just talking about labor, the labor force participation rate. So we can look at some of these. Here's the background. Let's look. 2015, 11, 7, and you can see there's no real, but you can see that the labor force is coming down after this was 1999, 2005, or 1995. You can see here where we peaked, and now we're coming down to the number of people participating. Then you also have here the number of people in the labor force. The number here has gone, number of people not in the labor force continues to go up. That's a scary thought when you continue to get this many people not working. Who supports them? Well, either they're dependent on somebody else or they're dependent on the government. Well, what does that mean? It means, well, then the government has to spend more money on this stuff. So we definitely need to be looking at some of this stuff and understanding it. Economic indicators, internal factors, business spending or investment. How much are your businesses spending and investing? These are other things that we can look at. Government spending. How much is the government spending? Well, last week we looked at it. We clearly said way too much. What was it, $3.5 trillion? And we looked at what it was, what $1 trillion looked like. It's an unfathomable amount. What did we say? If you spent $1 a second, it would take you 39,000 years to spend $1 trillion. Think about that. Government policies. Is the government, EPA requirements, EPA regulations. We talked at one point about the standards that the EPA was putting on the automotive industry. Why you can't buy a Ford Ranger anymore because of EPA regulations. Basically limits the number of trucks a company can have. Number of types of trucks that it can have.
What are you saying? Trucks. Yeah.
So yeah, so if you so you can't have, so that's why Ford goes with their better line, which is the F-150 line, their bigger truck. So they sell the F-150, F-250, F-350, but they don't sell the Ford Ranger anymore. So the object is to get more people into the F-150. Well, the reason why they don't sell the Ford Ranger is because the Ford Ranger gives them another truck class that they have to put in the fuel efficiency calculator for their fleet. And they have to meet certain requirements. Again, this is a great idea of government policy. Another one is, I'm going to send you guys this article for history class, but I'll send it to everybody in this class, that American Disabilities Act requires that anything put online must be accessible to those who are not able to normally access it. So if you're blind, you have to be able to hear it. If you're deaf, it's a video, it has to be closed caption. Well, there was a story out there, Berkeley produced about 20,000 free videos that they have in this library that you can go and watch these videos. Well, they didn't have closed caption. So what happened? They get sued. Of course they get sued, because that's what we like to do in America right away. Immediately there's any kind of injustice, what do? We sue the company. Rather than coming up with a different solution, we go and sue them. So what does Berkeley do? Berkeley decides we can't afford to convert 20,000 videos to closed caption. It's way too expensive. We don't have the money. We don't have the resources. So guess what they did? They basically digitally burned all of those videos. They pulled them all down. So now nobody gets any of that stuff. Yeah, again, it's one of those things where, well, this doesn't make sense. So you guys might find that article interesting, but here's this idea of how the government and its policies, the American Disabilities Act, put by George H. Bush. Horrible, yes.
Okay, so that's one thing about having closed captioning. Wonderful YouTube allows for that. Only problem is the last year in history class, Mrs. Hogan put on a, video for us to watch and closed captioning was on. Yeah, only problem is that YouTube misinterpreted some of the words.
Right.
Oh, Mom.
Yeah.
What a cutie. She was like, sorry, guys.
I mean, she
Yes.
didn't do it, YouTube did.
Right, but the problem is that they can't, Berkeley could not do it for their site. This stuff was not on YouTube. So, the other thing is, again, I talked about consumer confidence. Another one is looking at how much money is consumer spending. Psychological factors, that's more getting into that idea of what I was saying, that consumer confidence. As a consumer feeling confident and not confident about the economy, and what kind of impact does that have on things? And, one thing that we've gotten into in recent years, more so as well, is the terrorism level. After 9/11, there was this, the DC, I think it was the DC one, there was a sniper going around killing people at stores. You didn't know where he was. They found out that what was happening is there was a two-man team. They were driving up in a big car, and the guy was opening the trunk of his car and sniping people from the trunk of the car. Then he could close the trunk and drive away, and nobody would see him. So he'd park in these places where you can hide, and then shoot people with his high-powered rifle and kill them. Well, that drove a lot of people to stay home. Again, a psychological factor. So not only now do you have to worry about, well, how are people feeling? Are people scared? Are they afraid to leave their house? That has an impact on an economy. Why are, a couple months ago, we had that riot in the mall up in Cleveland. Well, the problem they've had now, the problem with the mall is people are now not shopping at that mall. So you have, again, these issues of, do people feel safe? What is going on with them, and why would they want to go? Yeah, I think it was Beechwood.
I go there all the time.
Well, they had a huge riot up there. That's not too long ago. Yes.
So, do they think about what are the chances that they'll hit the same place twice? What are the chances that they'll hit different places? People don't think that way, though. People don't necessarily think that way. They will interpret like the problem at the mall, not enough police to protect the people. If these kids can riot, what else can happen there? So there becomes another perception, which is why some malls during certain hours have made it so that you have to have, if you go to a mall and you're a teenager, you have to actually go in with your mommy or your daddy.
Yeah, like at Chapel Hill Mall, my brother and I, after like Christmas or something, we got a bunch of money, we were like, oh, we should go to the mall. Okay, so my brother's 19 and I was still 15, so we're like, okay. So we drove there, and like we found out that I couldn't go in because he wasn't 21.
Correct.
It's like, okay, that ruined our tactics, so we went to Walmart instead.
Yep.
I think that's really
Wait,
really good. If you're not,
I don't know if they're doing that still, but they were having some problems around Christmas time
yeah.
where it was
oh yeah, I've
requiring,
seen that post, it makes sense.
they're keeping, the other thing is
But it's only with certain hours after like 9
So-
or something or 8.
have you guys done that,
Well,
have you guys ever done that noise experiment?
Like
Yeah.
young people being able to hear.
Okay,
their-
so
Yeah.
Wait, what? I wasn't listening.
The sound experiment.
I totally was not paying attention.
I can do this, just don't put me on the color that one.
Wait, what?
Wait, no, is he gonna do that reloading sound stuff? What is this?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I can hear that. You guys hearing anything? I can barely hear it. It's not annoying enough to me. So what some malls are doing is they're actually playing this in malls underneath their music. So that what it does is it keeps the kids away because it drives them nuts. They can't stand it.
That's
Like-
cool. Please put on some music. That's still.
Yes.
What?
That's not cool.
Why do they do that?
It's because they don't want the teenagers hanging around in the mall.
Well, then I'm not going.
Now, this is not any of the malls here.
I'm still going.
This is not any of the malls here, but this is something that a couple of the places have come up with ideas to keep the kids from hanging around. Yeah, the other one that I like is here's one that's pretty cool, is a hearing test. So this is 20 hertz. So they can, let's see if this one will do it better.
What's there?
It's a little shorter in length. Okay, let's get the junk. So it's getting louder or more hertz. Now, anybody can sing that high, I'd love to see that.
Like to try.
No, but now you just have screaming kids everywhere.
Better turn it down, it might break the glass on the screen.
Let's find out.
I really like that sound at the beginning though.
Yeah. Who can't hear us?
I can still hear it.
It's
It's like annoying,
That's annoying, but.
very annoying. Okay, so see, it's starting to fade for me. I can barely hear it. Is it getting louder? See, I don't hear it at all. It's getting softer to me.
I can't hear it.
It's still there.
I cannot.
I can't hear it.
It's still there.
I can't hear it anymore.
There, it just went off.
Stop talking!
It went off. You guys will just
So-
it just.
So, just so, again, some of the things that,
I was out.
you know, we talk about economics and
It was
things that stores and companies do to help bring about, again, generating economics in their area. I have this ringing in my ear.
Yeah, oh my
Turn on
gosh.
music, please.
Not at the moment.
Okay.
So, again, when I was talking about external factors, war, terrorist attacks are just a few, but I mean, mobs at stores, you know, I don't go shop on Black Friday. Why? Because I don't want to deal with the people at the store and the long lines. I'd rather pay the extra. And besides, I can get to just about a lot of times the same thing, Cyber Monday with Amazon Prime. I know, it's not as exciting as fighting another woman over underwear.
Yeah, I have yet to have a good experience with Amazon, so.
Oh, really?
I
love it.
Yeah.
Mr.
So the,
I
I bought new
I bought
shoes for the first time from Amazon. I was always afraid of buying shoes because, you know,
at my job.
oh, wow. Economic goals of government. I find this interesting because we start looking at some of these things about the economic goals of government. The real economic goal of government is to control you as much as possible. I mean, unfortunately, that's what it's become about. It used to be
when Reagan was president, the idea was government get out of the way and let the people do what it needs to do. And then unfortunately, we've gotten away from that. Many of our economic theories come from Adam Smith and his ideas of the Wealth of Nations, written in 1776 in that area, which is right around the founding of our country. So, of course, a lot of our founders would have read some of this stuff as well. The idea is just leave, the big thing is, and Adam Smith is laissez-faire. This doesn't mean lazy. Laissez-faire means leave it alone, laissez-faire. A laissez-faire economist is somebody who believes that stay out of the way, it's a natural process, the economy will rebound faster on its own than if we try to tinker with it. Unfortunately, we run into Herbert Hoover's idea and FDR and these guys who think it's better if we invest in the people and it'll make things better. And we find that it actually doesn't. What? You like the word tinker?
No, just the way you said it was so funny to me. Not because of
Well, I'm glad I can make you
tingle,
laugh.
but because it's
Glad, Tara,
very
that
funny.
we can make you laugh after all the miserable day you're
It's
having
okay, it's okay.
with your eye.
I can stay serious until somebody else starts laughing, then I'm dead.
It doesn't sound like the word tingle, if that's what everyone thought. I'm not a child.
Yes, you are a
Please. You are.
child.
No, it just.
Stop touching your eye.
You are literally. a child.
Economic goals.
Okay,
Most people,
Her eyes.
most people look at full employment. And economists in modern era considers full employment to be about 4 or 5%. Why? Why do you think they're full? Why is it full employment? 100% of everybody working. Not everybody can have a job. That might be one. But there might be about 4 or 5% of the population who goes, I ain't working. I'm gonna live off the government, right? So that's what happens.
By the government, they.
Or I'll live off my parents for the rest of my life in their basement.
Plus the.
You have eye drops?
I just, you had eye drops this
Yes,
whole
Lisa.
time. Just had eye drops this whole.
But it's not by zine.
I need to carry them, otherwise I could.
Artificial tears.
The other thing that the government looks at is economic growth. That's not one of those prescriptions, is it?
No,
Artificial tears.
it's fun when you put them in and then you go up to your mom and you're like, Mom. It's horrible.
You're a terrible mother.
I one I was like 10.
And I
You gotta-
can say that. 'cause
You gotta
I-
wear makeup. You gotta wear makeup so it's
Exactly.
running.
Lots of mascara.
Economic growth is increases in GDP. The other thing that they want to look at is what is a stable price? They want stable prices. They don't want,
It's really easy.
do I need to do this for you?
Let's watch.
I can't.
Get in the kit.
I got this on video.
Oh, good job, good job.
Don't miss.
Turn it completely upside down.
Oh no, Tara.
You get used to it after a while.
Ow. No.
I hate
I got it.
Visine.
I got some of it.
Probably it'll help.
You
We
know,
don't want fluctuating prices.
I don't want to poke her in the eye.
What happens is fluctuating prices.
I don't want to kill you. Okay.
Are you
With-
talking about the 4 or 5% thing?
I moved on.
Okay, okay.
What happens is when you have fluctuating prices is you can't have a stable economy. So, during the Great Depression in Germany, they had what's called hyperinflation. That's another thing that the country looks at is inflation. With hyperinflation, you end up with, would you like one of these?
Say crowds.
Hyper,
Why is somebody not?
he got it from McDonald's.
Okay.
Because when you grab,
People need, like,
when you try to grab 2 or 3 napkins from McDonald's,
the
5 or
whole
6
thing.
things come out, right?
Okay, at a restaurant, waitress says, offers them like, no second napkins. Just means to take them.
The corner.
No,
of
you
my-
did.
Take home, not for the restaurant, take home.
Yeah.
So, with this stable prices, so in Germany, if you went into a restaurant in the morning, they always said if you wanted 2 cups of coffee, to buy them both at the same prices, because within 15 minutes, the price of the coffee would go up. So you would buy your 2 cups at the same time, so you would have them both. Because otherwise you'd pay more for that second cup 15 minutes later.
Oh, you just
That's
go
what's-
really up there. Pizza?
Well, wait for
You
McDonald's
buy
to
a
have,
coffee maker and a can of coffee, and then you make it at home, and then you have a whole pot.
yeah, I know. But some people
This is
can't
what I
afford that.
just Can I just say you sounded just like your mom then?
I
Good.
actually just quoted her, so, yeah.
Okay, it sounded like something your mom would say.
It is.
In the same way, same time.
Is it that bad?
And then by then.
Okay, so built-in stabilizers, you have
Don't do that. Just-
taxes, unemployment insurance, Social Security. These are 3 factors that the government uses to try to help keep the economy stable. Unfortunately, they don't always work really well.
Taxes.
Yeah,
What a joke.
well, when you take from one person and give to another, then you can then that's what happens.
Socialism?
Yeah, pretty much.
No,
That's-
it's stealing in a good way.
But
Stealing
it's not-
is never
because,
good.
okay, so if a person is out of work,
Stolen.
here we go, they're like, they're in a well,
Okay.
and the government isn't throwing them a rope so they can pull themselves out. They're giving them pillows and food so that they can be comfortable
In their home.
in their home.
Right.
Not a big amount.
I like those.
So the other thing is, there's a good movie called Holt.
Oh, it is so good. Moving on.
Don't even get us started.
Monetary policy, monetary policy versus fiscal policy. Monetary, to combat recession, they lower the reserve ration, buy government securities, lower the discount rate. To combat inflation, raise the reserve ratio, sell government securities, raise the discount rate. So these are things that the monetary can do. The fiscal, on the fiscal side, they lower taxes, increase government spending, which I disagree with. I think if you decrease government spending, you're better off. Increase private spending. You're trying to stimulate that private spending by lowering taxes. I don't believe in the government investment. I think they're wrong there. To combat inflation, you raise taxes. When inflation starts to happen, you want to slow the economy down. What slows the economy down? Raising taxes. Cut government spending and cut private spending. I think either way you cut government spending. Why do we still have business cycles? Because human nature. When we do more than what we have and what we need, then we are all prone to buy excessive and do excessive things when things are plentiful. So that's why when things are plentiful, you should save up, just like Joseph did. Joseph from the Bible?
Oh, I was like, I didn't know about it, Joseph. I was so confused. But okay.
Okay, so why do we still have business cycles? Forecasting difficulties. They're not easy to predict. Political considerations. Well, as long as we're going to have Democrats in charge, every now and then we're going to have recessions because they're going to spend too much money. Just kidding. Because political natures on both sides will lead to problems either way. So it's just the nature of the beast. Variable effectiveness. Because sometimes things don't work. Interest rates are so low, what's going to happen when they start raising interest rates? People are going to panic. In fact, we've let the interest rate get too low. It's also external factors, war, those kinds of things also cause problems. And my favorite, there is a Cuba Gooding Jr. movie out there. I can't remember the name of it. It drives me nuts. And in it, it's with him and I can't think of the other actress name all of a sudden. But in it, the main point of it is control is an illusion. You don't really have it. I mean, unfortunately, you drive home. When you drive home, you are not in control of the people driving next to you or around you. And you may not even have control over your own vehicle because of wet or icy roads. So what happens? You get in an accident. So control is an illusion. There is no such thing. So people who think that, oh yeah, government's in control. Trump is going to save us. No, he's not. He's not God. He doesn't have that kind of power. But what you hope is that he can enact some policies that will make things better, at least for a period of time.
Till tomorrow.
Right.
Don't you ever wish like you could just like stop time and just be maybe just for like a day? Well, I don't know about that, but maybe. But I mean, like just like stop and just like everything's frozen, just see the buildings, you know?
Once would you stop your car and you just look at the buildings?
I don't know. I guess I have emotional attachments to buildings sometimes.
Sorry, that was a joke.
Oh, I know you. Wait, what was it?
You said just stop and look at the buildings, and I said that's when you stop and get out of your car and look at the buildings.
We always did that at our old church, but then we're like, but what if we run into the pastor? It's gonna be really awkward. He's gonna be like, where were you this morning? Because we haven't been there like 2 years. And we're gonna be like, oh, we just saw you drive around the parking lot. It was
the
the
church yesterday, maybe it's just something. Because we were so tired from having prom.
You didn't even do anything after prom.
But it was, I was up from 6 to 2 in the morning, so I was exhausted. So I
What time did you get up?
decided to sleep at 7.
Did you go to
6 in the
prom?
morning.
No, on Sunday. Okay.
I slept till
You guys seen this one?
8.
This is one of my favorite.
Let's suppose that you're
Ooh.
running to a call.
Yeah, I almost skipped church.
I would recommend that if many of you think about getting this program. I've seen your writing.
Friends will see.
I want to get it. but I don't know what
Yes, I'm
happened.
so excited. I love this. It's
Oh,
so fun.
Hello? Yeah, it's over. It's fine, I didn't think I would take it this hard though. I can't believe it. He's dead.
But it had to be done. Yes, Dimitri, I understand. I will be careful.
Yes, I have the body in the back.
I won't be long. I just need to dispose of the evidence.
Well, he put up a struggle. They always do, don't they? But I'm afraid he was no match for me, poor fool. Yeah, it's just a pity Jeremy walked in and saw the whole thing happening.
Of course, I took care of it.
I'll be more careful, okay? Collateral damage is always messy. I'll be right there. When I arrive, you should probably compact and incinerate the car immediately. And make sure Joe Bravo holds off. We don't need 11 people dying tonight. And the babysitter, that makes 11. And I forgot about the priest, so guess what? Yeah, go. Good night. Hello, Mallory.
Oh, it is, but it grew back while I was sitting here.
Oh man, I love Halloween. Let's go take Matt to the hospital.
What are you going as for Halloween this year?
write it in the comments, vote for your favorites, and the winner gets Jeremy's severed money.
Have you seen the poker studio series where
What?
we're playing poker? Yeah, it's so funny. And the one guy said, I thought we were playing with him.
Those
So great.
Okay, I lost the word that hurt.
See, this is
Which one?
the poker face. Yeah, that one.
We're here at the World Championship Texas Hold'em Poker. We're down to our final four now, and the stakes have never been higher. No player is giving anything away. Faces.
Oh, my laptop just died.
Oh,
We'll have to finish it next time.
I was ready to try to keep straight face. It's like poker face.
It's so funny. Oh my gosh. You guys just all should go home. It's me.
3 more weeks left.
Oh, okay.
It's kind
So we
of
just
sad.
Can you believe it? 2017 is already 1/3 over.
I will be wasting all of it.
Yeah, I
Okay,
feel like the same thing.
can I just say that, I know everybody wants me to school to be over, but it's kind of sad because, let's be honest, when you go to co-op